If you are the New York Knicks right now in a wide open Eastern Conference, and you just hired Mike Brown, who has, I don't know, been to a finals with LeBron, you're not having a very long meeting about Karl-Anthony Towns for LeBron James and how that works. And then calling the Lakers and seeing if they're interested. And the Towns for LeBron thing, DeMonze, here is the pros and the cons of it. The cons for the Knicks obviously are guys 10 years older than the other. That's con number one, right? Your team dynamic changes considerably. That's potentially con number two. The pros, in my opinion, are, oddly, by adding a guy in year 23, a 40 guy who's going to be 41, you actually get better defensively for two reasons. One is it's more Mitchell Robinson minutes instead of Towns. So that definitively, that helps you a lot defensively. But also, as LeBron showed last year, once they got Luka, if he's not the primary offensive creator, he still has the ability to be a good, not great defender like he once was, but good defender if that's where he can put his energy. The other sneaky pro for the Knicks is, do they actually want to move Towns before he wants this next mega extension? When they traded all those picks for Bridges, and you're going to have to extend him, and you've already extended OG, and you're obviously in the Jalen Brunson business, like, does the fact that LeBron would be short-term, is that actually a positive? Because you don't want to, have the big money associated with Karl-Anthony Towns when there are, I think, legitimate, real concerns of, if our two best players are Brunson and Towns, are we good enough defensively ever to win 4 rounds? I think those are all real, legitimate discussions. And then it's like right now, this moment, as crazy as this is, because he's going to be in year 23, but is LeBron better than Karl-Anthony Towns? My answer to that question is yes. If you feel differently, then you don't make this trade. But if you think the answer is yes, does the 2025-2026 season have more value than future seasons have? Let me rephrase it. Does it have oddly, what's the right word? I'll just say it though. Instead of trying to say what I was trying to say exactly, I'll just explain it. Because the East is so ripped away due to injuries, does getting 10% better for this upcoming season matter more than it would in normal years? Because it's like, man, the Celtics are off the chessboard, the Pacers are off the chessboard, the Bucks don't know where they are on the chessboard. We're already the favorites in the conference. We haven't won a championship in 52 years. What if we go for it? It certainly is a worthy, legitimate conversation. Just like it. Now, I wouldn't necessarily want this if I were LeBron, but another team, DeMonze, that should at least discuss it? Golden State. Oh. Jimmy for LeBron. The Lakers get younger and add, a guy who doesn't need the ball at all, or a guy who's, more about intangibles and defense and stuff like that at this point of his career. And you put Steph and LeBron together and be like, all right, let's see. Like, now, if I were LeBron, that's not that interesting to me because I actually think the position he's in right now, like Luka, I feel is better than Steph. And so at this point, I don't think that Golden State would be that you'd be in a better position to win. But go ahead.
Right. With all this stuff going on, like what about Luka, who has like the player option next year? And also and how likely do you even think that it is that LeBron will be traded? Like, what team?
Well, I don't think it's likely, but I don't at all think it's fantasy at this point. That's the first point. The second point is, and I tried to be and I will again try to be very cautious about how I word this. And this is a good reason right here to like, rate, subscribe, review, to check out the podcast, because this little piece right here, we also won't specifically push out on its own on socials, because I don't want this to be aggregated incorrectly. But I told you guys 2 weeks ago that I thought, and this was what I would call a very informed opinion, that these finals specifically were difficult. Not being in the tournament late into this tournament had not sat well with LeBron at all. And that the itch to have one more run was as strong as ever. And I said that, then I went on vacation, and then shortly thereafter, Rich Paul released that statement. And it felt very in line with what I knew to be true, which was LeBron is not saying, I can't win with the Lakers. What LeBron is saying is, if your focus is not winning right now, then maybe we're not a great fit anymore. And that's reasonable.
Why did he come out and say that? After LeBron.
I think there's two reasons. So I think there were two reasons. One was to I think there were potentially two positive outcomes. One was shake the trees of the league to see if a team like the Knicks did want to inquire about his availability. The other one was to try to shake Rob Pelinka into being aggressive. And when I saw Dave McMenamin report that the Lakers are focused on having max cap space in 2027, I wanted to throw my phone. Forget LeBron. Next year you're gonna have 27-year-old Luka Doncic, who, by the way, has not signed an extension yet. You know when your window is? Right now. Every year. And I've also heard be like, well, listen, if Luka and LeBron aren't good enough to win a title, then how much of that is on Luka and LeBron? And the answer to that is yes and no, because this is how I felt at times when I was frustrated with the Lakers when AD was still there. When it's like, okay, if it were a 2-on-2 tournament, would the Lakers, when it was LeBron and AD and the rest of that mismatched supporting cast, would they have a better chance of winning the NBA title if the league were set up as it is right now, if it were 2-on-2? And I felt for a number of those years, probably 2-on-2. Like, their top two guys against anybody else's top two guys, take your chances. And it's the supporting cast that is not, especially in the new NBA with a weak link era where you need 5 legitimate guys. And that's how I feel right now. If it were if it were LeBron and Luka against Jokic and Murray, and I guess Giannis and Miles Turner now, which would be an awkward 2-on-2 game, and Steph and Jimmy, and Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, I like their chance. You know what? I like the Lakers' chances. Katie and Şengün. Ooh, that'd be fun. But it's not that. And so rounding out the rest of the roster, and by the way, I don't hate the Ayton move. I've never liked Ayton. And Demonze, if you remember, I don't know if you saw it. Sidebar from all the LeBron stuff. Okay. I'm so glad you remembered that. So, a year ago, 2 years ago, however long ago, DeAndre Ayton got traded to the Portland Trailblazers and played terribly at the start of the year. And then he did an interview. And one of the things he said was, yeah, like, you know, everything's been off, including I've been sleeping on an air mattress. And I said to Demonze, and I don't know if he thought I was being unfair or not, that right there, that one statement is such an indictment on Ayton's professionalism and maturity that it's not acceptable when you're a professional athlete who's been paid, who was on a near max contract, to be like, well, shit, my bed hasn't been delivered. So I guess for 6 weeks as a 7-foot tall NBA center, I'm going to sleep on an air mattress. It's just not acceptable. It's not. It's in the same, like you just can't happen.
What do you do in that situation? You like sleep in a hotel room or like, are you?
No,
you could have got a bed expedited is what you're saying. Like, it's like,
you can get, I could get, if you're, right now, like the nicest bed at Mattress Firm, no free ads, but I'll just shout them out. The nicest bed, all of it. It's like, they're expensive. Bed's going to be expensive, like $12,000, $15,000. If you call Mattress, whatever, Bed Company X, Mattress Firm, if you'd like more of these plugs, you need to talk to our sales department. Be like, hey, what's the biggest, nicest bed you have in stock? Okay. How much does it cost? Okay. All right, listen, what's your name? Marcus? All right, Marcus, how are you doing today? Today's your lucky day because you answered the phone. Here's the deal. I need that bed or a facsimile of it at my house by the end of the day. I do not care what you have to do for it. Here's the deal. I'm going to give you my credit card. You pay whatever extra fees there are. And when it gets done, I'm having someone come down to the store and give you $5,000 cash. Call me back in a half hour and let me know how it's happening. That would get done. And you pay a $5,000 I need my bed now tax, and you have a good NBA season. So, point was, I said that guy's not to be taken, not to be trusted. He gets traded from the Blazers, and the reports are, oh my God, this guy. He's late for meetings. He misses treatment. He's a pain in the ass. I'm like, yeah, you know how I knew? Because he was sleeping on an air mattress. That's how I knew. It's just, I mean, and so, all that said,
good.
That said, I don't, for $8 million, he's worth a flyer. I've never been a DeAndre Ayton guy, but he's worth a flyer. There are other moves I would have liked more, but worth a flyer. I think the Lakers, man, Rob Pelinka's never been good at his job. And I understand he was in that analogy I just made, Marcus, the mattress salesperson, who a guy called him up and was like, hey, lucky day, I'm going to buy your best bed and give you $5,000 tip for your trouble. He was the Marcus in that analogy. And the guy calling him was Nico Harrison, and instead of $5,000, he offered him Luka Doncic. But that didn't make Marcus the world's greatest mattress salesperson, and that didn't make Rob Pelinka great GM. It was just like, oh, shit, lucky day. And so I think alienating Dorian Finney-Smith when Luka loves him and Luka hasn't signed in his extension yet is worrisome. It's not nothing. I don't think the Lakers are drawing dead. I don't think they are. They have put themselves in the best position. And if they don't want to contend this year, if they're like, no, and by the way, it also doesn't I don't know why Rob Pelinka would be trying to save cap space for 2027. Rob, you're not going to be in charge in 2027, buddy. Those new owners are going to survey the landscape and be like, so where are there inefficiencies in this league? Oh, unlimited budget on front offices, coaching staffs, trainers, scouts, those types of things, no salary cap there. Well, what if we upgraded at that spot?